Hi, I'm Ben,
And I'm Lucas.
and we are two aspiring filmmakers making unnecessary commentary on famous movies.
Each week, we will randomly select a film to analyze, discuss, and review.
We will select the film at the end of each podcast, so you will have ample time to watch the movie before the next episode.
We are slightly qualified film students. Hello.
Hey everybody, it's
Welcome to our Christmas special.
Yeah. Christmas special. This will be coming out either on Christmas or on Christmas Eve.
I think we're planning to have it out Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay, nice. Bring some holiday cheer to the holiday season, and this is going to be a bit of not a traditional episode. It's going to work a little differently. It's not really a review. It's a Christmas movie showdown. We picked 8 films. Pretty much randomly, just kind of off the top of the head. And we tried to make them pretty diverse, genre-wise and era.
Time of release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a pretty diverse list. We have Miracle on 34th Street from 1947, I believe. Is that when it was released?
Yes.
Late 40s.
Yeah, 47.
We have Scrooged. Late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, late 80s. Hilarious classic. Nightmare Before Christmas. Animated film. Tim Burton.
93. I was surprised. I thought it was newer than that.
Me too.
It's pretty old. Yeah.
Jingle All the Way.
96.
96. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
Love Actually, 2003.
Yep.
And then Deck the Halls, 2006. Danny DeVito.
Yep.
Then Krampus from 2015. And Happiest Season, which released on November 25th this year.
Yeah, just about a month ago.
Yeah. So we kind of...
I'm ready to go. I got my my glass of eggnog next to me. I got my
notes. Really like eggnog. It's kind of...
I know, a lot of people don't like it.
It's all right. I mean, the
love
texture is just a little too thick for me. Even though I don't know. It's not my favorite drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
So, yeah,
do you want to... in the festive spirit?
Yeah. Do you want to explain how the bracket's going to work?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's going to work kind of like a round robin sort of bracket you would see in any sporting playoff event. It's going to be very similar to like how the Olympics do things, so that each movie will get a certain placing, whether it be 8th place or all the way up to 1st place. So right now, for our first round between all the movies, we have them matched up from oldest film against newest film. So our first matchup is Miracle on 34th Street, which is from 47, up against our newest film, which is Happiest Season from 2020, like a month ago.
Yeah.
Our next matchup is Scrooged against Krampus, The Nightmare Before Christmas up against Deck the Halls, and finally Jingle All the Way up against Love Actually. And just want to remind everyone that we are not by any means stating that these are the 8 greatest Christmas movies, because they are not.
Yeah.
These are just kind of randomly chosen films that kind of just cover a different feel of all the Christmas movies out there.
I feel like they're all pretty different from each other. Like, you got Krampus, which is like a Christmas horror movie. Miracle on 34th Street, which is like just a classic family Christmas movie. And then like Love Actually, which is like a rom-com kind of thing. And Nightmare Before Christmas, which is animated even. So, yeah, I think we covered kind of all the bases. It would be pretty boring if they were all just kind of traditional Christmas movies. We tried to spice it up a little bit. Yeah.
So, yeah, basically how it's going to go is Ben and I are just going to debate until we come to an agreement on each of the matchups, and then the winners will go into a winner's bracket, and the losers will go into a loser's bracket, and they'll just keep competing until we get each movie in its rightful place.
Yeah. All right, so do you want to start? Should we start us off with our first matchup?
Our first matchup.
Yeah.
Miracle on 34th Street up against Happiest Season.
Yes. All right. Well, Miracle on 34th Street is just, when I think of Christmas movies, it's like one of the first things that comes to mind. It is like the most timeless creation of all time. It came out so long ago, like it's coming up on 100 years, you know. It's over 80. No, wait, 60. No, it's okay. I can't do math, but it's really old. Okay.
Coming up on 100 years.
Yeah. So basically, you know, this nice old man, it's kind of the story of this guy pretending to be Santa Claus, spoiler alert, and the story of...
Is he pretending, though?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Is he? We are never told.
We're never told, but yeah, it can be assumed. Yeah, and this little girl kind of befriending him, it's pretty weird if you think about it. It's like
you know what? What's more weird about this movie is the fact that the daughter and the neighbor are like BFFs, but he's just using the daughter to like get with the mother, and this is just like accepted, and the mom just does not care that her daughter is just getting taken to like the zoo and stuff with this random stranger she does not know, who's like this dude in his mid-40s. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was the 40s.
It's some nice family fun. It's not too long. It's 96 minutes. It's just it's when you think of the spirit of Christmas, I think it just does a great job of making it this nice family event, and for the kids too, you know, you get to see Santa, so kids can like it, you know.
I think the thing I like about Miracle is that it is rooted in reality while still being like this magical Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I also like that even though it is a family film, it still like has a lot of very adult themes in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got just the fact that we're showing a parade Santa being practically blackout drunk at the start of the movie in order to get the new Santa, or even just the fact that the entire movie is contemplating if Santa is real or not. I mean, it's an interesting take on a Christmas film, and it's just very entertaining, and it holds up even though it's from, you know, 70 years ago.
Yeah, and honestly, technically, it's like, obviously it hasn't aged incredibly well due to the fact that the technology they had back then was so limited, but it's actually not even that bad to watch it nowadays. Like, it's not it's not over the top distracting how old it is.
Yeah, I think that for this matchup it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah,
I think Happiest Season is a decent film,
okay,
but I don't think it really competes.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Happiest Season just came out, so pretty much I don't know how many people have seen it. I mean, I'd never even heard of it before I watched it.
Yeah, it just came out. It's actually weirdly getting quite a bit of buzz, Golden Globe wise, for best comedy.
I mean, I think it is actually pretty funny. Standout for me is Aubrey Plaza. I love Aubrey Plaza. I think she's really funny.
I agree. She's so funny.
For me,
I think her and Daniel Levy as supporting characters.
Dan Levy is
they
just
brought
a legend.
The comedy.
Schitt's Creek is hilarious. It's kind of got this modern ensemble cast feel, and it's actually pretty funny. I can totally see how it's getting Golden Globe buzz, but to me, Kristen Stewart's an uninspiring name for me.
And the problem with it is it's just very cliche. It's, you know, it's so predictable, and it's something we've seen a million times before, just told in a different way.
It is cliche, and I do love that they're doing this progressive film, and I think that it's I'm not hating on that at all, but I just feel like they could have done it in a much better way, because it just leaves more to be desired from how it all goes down. I just don't think it's...
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of Meet the Parents.
Yes.
You know, with Robert De Niro and
Yes.
Ben Stiller. It has a very similar kind of story structure.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think that it was entertaining. It was fun. But I would have personally... I think this film could have been a lot better if they had focused more on Kristen Stewart and Aubrey Plaza's storyline.
Yeah.
Because I thought that their scenes were actually really nice. And I feel like they had way more chemistry...
than her and Mackenzie.
Way more chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that... And even though, yes, I get that the whole movie is about her Mackenzie trying to, like, come out to her parents and stuff, and there's a lot of, like, on her and a lot of pressure on her, and yeah, that's also, like, kind of destroying their relationship. But it's not just that. She's also, like, just not being really nice to her.
That is so true.
Leaving her... She's, like, going off and, like, hanging out with her ex-boyfriend all night long. Like, there's a lot of elements to it that I'm like...
It's just a bad relationship.
Yeah, and I thought it would have been interesting to, like, start the movie off like it's heading in that direction and then kind of, like, pull that turn and actually focus on her and Aubrey Plaza and then kind of steer away. I think that would have been a more fun... newer kind of approach to the film, but it goes in a very hallmarky cliche way, which isn't awful, but it's just, it doesn't add anything new to all the other Christmas films out there.
Yeah, and unfortunately it's up against one of the most classic films of all time. I just think this matchup is kind of a no-brainer. Are we both in agreement that Miracle is better?
Yep, I'm going to highlight it. Miracle on 34th Street is the winner of our first matchup.
All right.
It's heading into the winner's round, where Happiest Season is going to go into the loser's round.
Yes. Happiest... that kind of doesn't do Happiest Season much credit. I do think it is actually pretty good. But, I mean, it's just hard when you're up against such a great film like Miracle. Okay, our next matchup is Scrooged versus Krampus. Krampus is kind of... It's a horror movie. And Scrooged is Scrooged is based on the tale of Ebenezer Scrooge, obviously. But it's kind of like a modern take on it, I guess. It doesn't play out exactly how that went down. Yeah, and I love Scrooge. Scrooge to me is just... It's like... It's such a good movie. It's hilarious. I love Bill Murray. If you're a Bill Murray fan, I mean, you have to have seen this. This is like some quintessential Murray. And I just love the kind of modern take on an old fairy tale kind of thing. Like, it does follow the whole ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, but it does it in, like, a New York City television executive kind of way, if that makes sense. Like, it's, they're not trying too hard to make it this age-old tale. They're kind of breaking new ground, I guess. And I just think, like, all the relationships are so... It's so well done. Like, I love Frank and Claire's relationship. And even...
See, I thought that was the most unhealthy relationship.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's a super unhealthy relationship.
The problem... I think Scrooged was entertaining enough, and there were definitely elements that I enjoyed, but there's just a lot of technical issues and a lot of plot holes that, I don't know, I couldn't really get over.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, I felt like it's very predictable because, of course, it is just, at the end of the day, a modern retelling of A Christmas Carol. But the fact that... the thing I didn't like about it was his transfer, like his...
yeah, it was really quick.
His change of heart. It's so sudden, and it actually is caused because he's scared, because of his fear of death.
Yeah.
So actually, that whole speech at the end of the movie, he's only doing that. It's still just for personal gain, so he actually hasn't gotten anywhere throughout the entire movie.
I mean, that's kind of true, but the journey is just hilarious. Like, when I watch this movie, I'm not like watching it because I want to see Frank become a better person. I just think it's a hilarious film. It's probably the film that makes me laugh the most out of any on this list, out of all these 8 films. It's written so well. Like Frank's like sarcastic, snappy one-liners. It's so quotable. It's so good. I just
apparently
love...
Bill Murray ad-libbed pretty much every single line in this film. And the director hated him.
Richard Donner.
Him and the director did not get along because Bill Murray just kept ad-libbing like out of nowhere, just random stuff that was not in the script. I think that this is the hardest matchup we have, in my opinion, because I feel like they both of the movies lack in the same sort of area. I think both of them kind of fall apart in the third act.
Krampus has that crazy plot twist, though.
Krampus has a better ending, but like the third act, like we have this like whole section where each family member is kind of getting taken by Krampus one by one, and it starts happening too quickly, and it's kind of rushed, and it turns into feeling a bit more like an action movie instead of a horror movie, and all that tension that had been building just kind of but the part that Krampus has that is the upper hand here, in my opinion, is the fact that it has really great cinematography. There's this near the beginning of the film, there's that scene where Krampus is jumping like roof to roof, and he's kind of in the silhouette, and he's jumping roof to roof chasing this girl as she's running down this like blizzard frozen street, and you just see his shadow kind of hopping everywhere, and it's like really stunning visuals that are like super creepy, but also like also have this really weird, warm, cozy Christmas feel. But on the other hand, I think Scrooge has better performances. Bill Murray gives a really solid performance until maybe I don't think his performance on his final speech is very good, but for the most part, he gives a solid performance, and he's funny, and he's able to play this jerk, but still he's still funny. He's still somewhat likable, even though he is absolutely
he's just an asshole. Like he's just the biggest asshole of all time. But to me,
so I think
Krampus
it's what's more important.
Yeah,
it's what's more important, cinematography or acting. It's like Scrooged, the cinematography is very bland. The lighting is very like key light, filler light. There's nothing to it. But Scrooged is a bit more of a classic. It definitely has a lot more nostalgia going for it. And also, I don't know. It's a hard one for me.
It's I guess to me, the whole concept behind Krampus is just a little like it just kind of it's a bit I just feel like they're trying to capitalize on this new kind of like genre bending idea, and to me,
but Krampus is just a Christmas carol, but like it's an old German folk tale.
That's true. That is true. I mean, to me, yeah, I guess it's a hard one, but I don't know. To me, Scrooged is just so enjoyable, and it's such a classic film that I kind of see it winning here. It's written really well too, even though like you said, Bill Murray ad-libbed most of his stuff. I can't see it losing to Krampus.
Yeah, okay. I think it's close, but yeah, I think that Scrooge has the slightest upper hand here. So
all right,
it's gonna move on to the winners round, going up against Miracle on 34th Street.
Nice.
And we're going to have Krampus going up against Happiest Season in the loser round.
All right. So this brings us to Nightmare Before Christmas versus Deck the Halls. Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton.
This is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, Deck the Halls, it's okay. It's funny.
It's fine.
It's just an okay kind of B-list Christmas movie. But, like, The Nightmare Before Christmas is just this... It's legendary. It's so legendary.
Oh, yeah.
It's, like, instantly...
I mean, it took them 3 years just to finish the stop motion.
Yeah.
And like that's not even including all of the editing, all of the computer graphics to do the camera movement and stuff. Just the stop motion took 3 years. Like that is crazy commitment to make a 76-minute movie. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, and it works so well. Like it's surprisingly technically sound for a 93 stop motion film. And
okay, this is the big question though. The Nightmare Before Christmas, is it a Christmas movie or is it a Halloween movie? This has been debated for ages.
It's a Christmas movie. Come on. Like, sure, all the characters are Halloween themed, but like the whole plot revolves around Christmas. So it's...
See, I call it it's like an American Thanksgiving movie because it's like split in the middle between Halloween and Christmas. So you get like the best of both worlds.
Sure.
But yeah, I think at the end of the day it's more of a Christmas movie because even though everything has a Halloween feel to it, it's all about these Halloween characters trying to do Christmas. So
I mean, Tim Burton kind of solidified himself in the game with this one.
Yeah.
Like,
this is a no-brainer. Nightmare wins.
I mean, we don't even have to discuss it that much. Deck the Halls. I mean, it's got Danny DeVito being...
We'll get into Deck the Halls.
Yeah. Like,
we'll get into Deck the Halls.
I honestly don't know if anyone would even disagree with this one. Nightmare Before Christmas is just better in almost every single way.
Okay, Nightmare is moving on to the winners.
Yeah.
And Deck the Halls is into the loser round. Okay, let's move on to our final matchup of round 1, which is Jingle All the Way up against Love Actually. I mean, this is another no-brainer for me.
Yeah. All right, hear me out. When I put Jingle All the Way on this list, I didn't realize Lucas was going to be coming in with such heat like Love Actually. But once again, I mean, we can get into more specifics in the next round, but Jingle All the Way is just... It's kind of like, at this point, it's almost like a film like The Room, where it's so bad it's good kind of thing. Like, you could...
I compared Arnold Schwarzenegger's performance to Tommy Wiseau as Johnny.
It's funny. Like, it's funny how bad it is. And the movie's supposed to be a comedy, but it's funny for the wrong reasons.
It's funny because you're laughing at how bad the movie is, which is not how you want it to be.
Not
funny.
A good thing. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. I mean, Love Actually has just transcended the plane of Christmas movies to become a movie you could watch anytime. Jingle All the Way?
Yeah.
Come on. No one is going to disagree with this. Love Actually is just better in every single way.
Yes. So, Jingle All the Way is going to the losers round, and it'll be up against Deck the Halls. That will be a close matchup. And then we have winners round, which is Nightmare against Love Actually.
Yeah, so
you want to do losers first?
Yeah, let's do losers first. So, Happiest Season versus Krampus.
This one's hard.
This one is pretty hard. I think Happiest Season, well, yeah, sure, it's cliche. It's just a question of, is Aubrey Plaza and Daniel Levy's performance enough to kind of bring it above a more technical masterpiece kind of thing. Like, I'm
reading through my notes right now.
I love the ensemble vibe that Happiest Season has. Like, I think it is definitely better acting.
But also, I think that the acting in Krampus isn't that bad. I think Toni Collette and Adam Scott...
We'll call it passable.
Toni Collette and Adam Scott play off each other really well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly...
The kid performances kind of suck,
but that's... Do you mind? Come on, it's a child actor. What do you expect?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, Kristen Stewart... Yeah, I said I don't like Kristen Stewart, and I still stand by that. But this is, like, miles above anything else she's ever been in. Like...
Yeah, she plays her character... Like, the character is written... It's something that she's able to play off really well.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to put a lot of effort, I don't feel, into that role, but it works for her. And I think she's decent. Also, I think that some of the other supporting characters did well too. I feel like Alison Brie was kind of flat. She like played a very stereotypical character, and I think a lot of that has to do with the writing. And I like that her character kind of had it had a turnaround at the end, but again, that was very cliche.
It's just a cliche film. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it is. But the question is that a bad thing?
It feels like a well-acted, higher-budget Hallmark film.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, I could totally see myself, like, watching this again at Christmas time a few years later and kind of getting that nostalgia Christmas movie feel about it. I can totally see this going down as, like, you know, a modern Christmas movie classic kind of thing. Not saying that it lives up to the standards as some of the more family Christmas movies, but I think it has potential to grow into a pretty rewatchable Christmas movie.
I think what this film, I mean, some jokes did not land for me, but some jokes did. I thought that the whole ongoing joke between, like, Dan Levy tracking people, I thought that was really funny and kind of just, like, kept showing up throughout the movie. I thought that, but I also thought that it was, like, very on the nose, and it didn't do it in a way that it was almost satirical. It did it in a way that was kind of taking itself too seriously. Like, it had some very obvious metaphors and symbolism that, like, I feel like the director might have thought was really cool, but as an audience, it was just, like, super obvious. Like,
especially when you're talking to the slightly qualified film students, you know, we are
that
a league
sequence
above.
where she's like hiding in the like she's actually hiding in a closet, and then the mom like takes her out of the closet. Like, it's very like on the nose obvious.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like they did that on purpose, though. They definitely
they totally did that on purpose, but it's like,
okay,
you know, is that too much?
What are you thinking here?
Krampus, God, I think that Krampus is, I mean, they're very different film. Krampus has good cinematography. I also think The Happiest Season was shot decently.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think performances, Happiest Season has the upper hand, but I think Krampus has the upper hand with the production design. Also, the soundtrack in Krampus is really awesome. The ending of Krampus is good, but the third act kind of sucks, whereas Happiest Season, the ending kind of sucks, but the third act was pretty solid.
I thought the ending was okay.
So it's kind of taking...
I thought the ending was alright.
I don't know.
I mean, I like It's a Wonderful Life, so, you know.
I don't know. I don't know what has the upper hand here, but I think I'm leaning Happiest Season.
Sure, I'm fine with that. Happiest Season over Krampus.
Yeah, I think it's very close, but I think Happiest Season wins.
All right, so that's moving on to the 5th/6th place match, I believe. Yeah. All right. So Deck the Halls versus Jingle All the Way. Now we're getting to the bottom of the barrel kind of thing. I almost want to put Krampus in the 6th place, and then just have Deck the Halls and Jingle All the Way battle for last place, because I don't think it's fair to consider Krampus on the same level as Deck the Halls and Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, so I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna have Happiest Season will end up in 5th place.
Yeah.
So we've already decided Happiest Season is 5th place,
and Krampus is 6th.
And Krampus will be 6th place.
Now, Deck the Halls versus Jingle All the Way.
So that means Deck the Halls against Jingle All the Way, in 7th and 8th place.
All right. Hear me out. Jingle All the Way it's like, to me, Deck the Halls, it's funnier if you're just watching it, almost from like just a regular standpoint. Like, Deck the Halls is funnier, slightly more creative. It's at least unique enough that it can kind of hold its own. Like, Jingle All the Way is just, it's just, But Jingle All the Way is hilarious watching it from an ironic standpoint. So, the question is is it better then because you can watch it like and laugh at how bad it is? Does that make it more entertaining than Deck the Halls? And honestly, I think it does.
I don't know, man. This was the first time I watched Jingle All the Way.
Really? To me,
and,
I've seen this movie.
This was the first time I'd watched it. And I was really annoyed. And not because like I can watch The Room, I can watch Birdemic, and I'll have fun. But this movie, there were very little, like, I was just starting to kind of be like, oh, okay, this is too much. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger gives the performance that it's just good enough that it's not, like, Tommy Wiseau bad, but it's also just so bad that it's like, how can someone be so over the top with their facial expressions and yet deliver their dialogue in the most flat monotone like voice ever? It doesn't make sense to me. Also, Sinbad in his supporting role.
Oh God!
I swear, that man yelled every single line he said in the movie.
Sinbad,
like,
what
he'd
a
just
meme!
Be talking. He's just talking to Arnold Schwarzenegger like right next to him, and he's like yelling at the top of his lungs. Man.
Yeah, but in a way, though, isn't that more entertaining than Deck the Halls? Like, don't get me wrong, Deck the Halls is definitely funnier at face value. Danny DeVito's actually pretty funny. I actually kind of think that Deck the Halls is... It's
Deck the Halls actually got some, like, legit laughs out of me. I think that, what was funny about Deck the Halls is that it was, even though it's meant to be, like, a family-friendly movie, it kind of was sneaking in all of these, like, more mature jokes.
Oh,
just
totally.
kind of out of nowhere that were, like, you weren't... I wasn't expecting it to do that, and they kind of caught me off guard and made me laugh. I thought that Danny DeVito and Kristen Chenoweth, they played off of each other really well. They had good chemistry. I mean, I think Matthew Broderick, it's not his finest performance by any means, but he still has good comedic timing. And him and Danny DeVito just like constantly bickering and stuff. It's funny. It has funny elements. It gets a little old as the movie progresses.
Yeah, for sure.
But here's what Deck the Halls has technically that I think gives it the upper hand. That the problem I have with Jingle All the Way is I feel like they didn't even bother to color correct the film. Like, I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, everything is so flat. There's like no shadows, like none.
Yeah,
and everything is like kind of gray. It has like this gray overtone on everything, and I was like, did they even bother to like
just turn that contrast up?
Just turn the contrast a little bit, like. And Deck the Halls, yes, the color like choices and costumes and stuff are just dumb and like do not match anything. But at least it like, no, I swear, there's like a part where like one person is in bright yellow, another person is in red, and they're like up against like these green wall. It does not make sense. But at the same time, at least it tried, you know?
At least
I feel like Jingle All the Way, they were halfway through the movie and they just realized this is going to be awful, and then they just kind of gave up.
Yeah, okay. Like, well, are we in agreement then that Deck the Halls is better?
Deck the Halls wins.
Yeah, Jingle All the Way is last place. Don't watch.
Yeah, so Jingle All the Way is coming in 8th.
Just don't do it to yourself. Maybe watch Deck the Halls. Deck the Halls is passable. You could get a few laughs. Have fun with your family.
I was entertained. I found it entertaining enough.
All right.
Okay, so Deck the Halls is in 7th place, Jingle All the Way in 8th place, and then we have Krampus in 6th and Happy Season in 5th. So now we're getting into the more
the actual ones, the good
difficult
ones.
stuff. Yeah.
So
first we have Miracle on 34th Street up against Scrooged.
Yeah, this is interesting because you got the classic Christmas movie versus a parody of a classic Christmas story that's a comedy. To me, this one's...
Are you taking Scrooged?
Yeah. I almost think it's not fair just because of how much I loved Scrooged. Like, I'm trying to look at it from a totally unbiased perspective. But to me, Bill Murray is just like probably my favorite comedic actor of all time. So I just, like, it just makes me so happy to see Scrooged and just watch him be funny. But Miracle on 34th Street is just, it's incredible how well it's held up. Like, just having a film from the 40s still watchable by all means today is like so impressive to me.
I take Miracle because I think that it has a better story. I think that the progression, the screenplay progression is way stronger. All the characters, like, development, how we start off with this family that, like, you know, don't believe in anything. They are very, like, I mean, this mother does not, like, allow any imagination whatsoever, and they kind of grow,
they do grow
throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Whereas Bill Murray and Scrooge, it's like, he thinks he's gonna die, boom, he's turned into this, like, crazy Christmas maniac.
I mean, that's kind of how it is in A Christmas Carol, though.
No, but the thing about A Christmas Carol is that there is more, like, every time a ghost visits him, he becomes
slightly
more and more, where it would, like, be like a ghost visited Bill Murray, and then he would just go back to being his normal self.
Yeah.
Then the ghost would visit him again, he'd be all, like, teary-eyed, and then he'd just go back to being his normal self. Like, there wasn't this progression. And I think Roger Ebert said it best. I was reading Roger Ebert's review of Scrooge. He really did not like Scrooge. He gave it a 1 star.
Damn.
But Roger Ebert said, it's like Bill Murray took the script, it took the original source material of A Christmas Carol and only read the bah humbug part and didn't read the rest of it.
Yeah. I guess, honestly,
I don't think it's that bad, but...
Okay, I think here's where I stand on this matchup. If we're looking at it from a non-Christmas movie perspective, I'd 100% take Scrooged. But since this is a Christmas special, you got to look at it kind of from that Christmas perspective too. What is the better Christmas movie? And to me, I think you're right. I think it's Miracle. Like, Scrooged is a good watch all year round kind of thing. I don't really... Yeah, I guess... Okay, I agree with you. I think Miracle is the winner.
I think the other thing about Miracle is just the originality. Also, because at the end of the day, Scrooged is just, you know, another retelling of Christmas Carol that we've seen a million times. And I think that's why it wins this round.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Miracle on 34th Street is in the finals. Scrooged battling for 3rd and 4th place. Okay, now possibly the toughest matchup of all time. Nightmare Before Christmas versus Love Actually. Oh, this is so hard.
For me, it's Love Actually.
Yeah.
And I watched both of them last night. I watched both of these movies last night.
Okay.
And I can say that the reason why I'm taking Love Actually is because even though it's a 2 hour and 15-minute movie, it's more entertaining and it has a quicker pace than The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is only an hour and 18 minutes. Which actually, the second act of The Nightmare Before Christmas is very slow.
That is true. But to me, like, I do like Love Actually. It's not really my favorite. I'm also just not a huge rom-com person in general. So it kind of had that going. But just, I think that Love Actually, if they just removed a few of what I consider to be the weaker storylines, I think they could have gone so much more in depth with the characters and just made it better. Because sometimes I felt like I was watching something and I really, really liked it, and then that storyline would end and a new one would start, and I'd find that one less entertaining.
I think that Love Actually, the two storylines that are kind of pointless is the whole Martin Freeman storyline where he's like the stand-in for the porn stars, and then Laura Linney, her whole storyline is kind of, it's not necessary and it never really gets a conclusion, even though they're entertaining and they're funny.
I'm also
they kind of take away from them.
I'm really not a fan of Daniel and Sam and Joanna and Carol, that whole thing. I just don't like Liam Neeson. It's like so hard for me to take it seriously when I see Liam Neeson.
I think that's the best story. I think that the best storylines are Emma Thompson and Alan Rickman. That one has so much heart.
Yeah,
and
that's the best one for me.
She's like
No
holding
brainer.
herself together through Christmas, even though she knows her husband's cheating on her.
Yeah.
But the reason I like Liam Neeson and Thomas Brody Sangster's storyline is, first off, they have amazing chemistry as like the stepfather
Yeah.
and stepson,
Like, I
and also
like
the
it.
fact that the entire point of it is that they're kind of chasing this kid's crush, but it's also at the same time this distraction of the fact that they're going through Christmas where his mother and Liam Neeson's wife has literally just died. Like, they just had the funeral.
Yeah.
Like, there's also so much grief and emotion that's put into that storyline. And even though, yes, overall, Love Actually is a rom-com and it's a Christmas movie, it still has a lot of heart and a lot of depth. Like, the whole Laura Linney storyline, even though maybe it doesn't have that much impact in the film, like, we're watching different elements of love. Laura Linney has to sacrifice her love because her brother is mentally unstable and she has to go care for him constantly. Like, we have all these, like, kind of snippets of life, and I think what Love Actually would have been more solid is if they had approached it, instead of trying to interconnect everything, as more just little stories about
Yeah,
love.
I
If they
actually
had
really
tried
agree
to
with
go
that. I really agree with that. Yeah, I just like this is so hard for me. Like, Love Actually is so good. Like, I love that the whole overarching theme of, like, the emotions that connect people is love and stuff like that. Whatever, It's sappy. It hits you in the feels, okay? But, like, Nightmare Before Christmas is so original. Like, it's so unique. It's such a gem. To me, Love Actually, it's unique too, but it's a decently typical rom-com. It's don't get me wrong, like, okay, it is unique. It's a very unique rom-com, but at the end of the day, like, you can't tell me that it's more original than Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, Nightmare Before Christmas is just
I think Nightmare Before Christmas has a very original idea, but the actual plot line is very simplistic. Like, the idea that Jack is just bored of Halloween and therefore he's like, hey, let's try something new. Like, that's literally the whole plotline of Nightmare Before Christmas. It's not that extensive. It's not that great. I mean, yes, the atmosphere and the overall, like, location
it's Tim Burton,
and
like,
world that Tim... Yeah, but Tim Burton's not even the director. He just kind of, like, was the producer.
fair enough.
Like, The Nightmare Before Christmas is just... It's... Overall, yes, it's brilliant and it's a insane technical achievement, but I think it loses points against Love Actually purely because of entertainment value and the fact that it's not as rewatchable. Like, I rewatched both of them yesterday, and I can tell you that Love Actually was way more entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, you
kind of
also
bored.
kind of have to take into account that Nightmare Before Christmas is more of a kids movie. I totally
that's
enjoyed.
Another thing I like about Love Actually.
I totally enjoyed Nightmare Before Christmas more when I was 10.
Yeah.
But, like, to me, like, yeah, it almost makes it more hard to call this matchup because, like, Nightmare Before Christmas, I feel like is a more, is just a better family Christmas movie. I mean, that's not necessarily 100% what we're basing this off of, but I think you got to give it points for just at least having that going for it versus Love Actually, which I would not show a child.
I don't know. Like, I watched Love Actually when I was pretty young. Like, I don't know, probably like 10.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
And yeah, it is designated for adults, but I think that's also a good thing because it's taking something as cliche as a Christmas film and it's aiming it for, it's 14A or R in America.
It's R.
There aren't a lot of Christmas movies that do that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll
besides,
agree
like,
with you. Let's give it to Love Actually, but
okay. But then, do we think that The Nightmare Before Christmas is better than Miracle on 34th Street?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
I think it's better than Miracle.
Yeah, I think it is just because of technical achievement.
Not even. Like, I just think Nightmare Before Christmas is... Like, yes, I've been saying that Miracle holds up and it's still a good watch, but it is less entertaining than Nightmare Before Christmas. Maybe it's just because Nightmare Before Christmas is really short. But I just think it is a more entertaining watch than Miracle. That's so close too, though. I do really like Miracle, but I do think that Nightmare Before Christmas is better than Miracle.
Yeah, I think if we're looking at Nightmare against Miracle, it's the fact that I love the concept of Miracle on 34th Street. I love that we never state that Kris Kringle is actually Santa Claus or isn't. It's left to interpretation. And
all the kids
children
are
going to watch
gonna
that film.
Like, oh, it's Santa.
Yeah, children are going to watch that film and think that is Santa. And then other people are going to look at that film and think, oh, maybe it is just a delusional guy. But, he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. And I do love that about it, but Nightmare Before Christmas is just, it's so immersive, and you're just trapped in this world for the runtime. And I also like the fact that the Nightmare Before Christmas is kind of genre bending, even though it is a family children film. It's very dark.
It's
very
super
creepy.
Dark. It's what would become to expect of a Tim Burton film. Yeah, I know he's not the director, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It kind of goes like,
and just
it's the beginning of that style of really dark, like over the top, really dark imagery and such, with Edward Scissorhands and all.
And watching The Nightmare Before Christmas, I was like sitting there thinking, oh my God, this came out in 93, but this looks better than a lot of animation films that are like coming out today.
It totally
does.
They put more effort so into good. Yeah.
And the fact that they're able to create this, like, insane camera movement throughout, even though it's all claymation, like, there's this shot of Jack, he's, like, laying unconscious in, like, the angel's arm on the grave, and the camera, like, does an entire, like, swoop around the angel while he's, like, singing the song. And it's, like, really incredible that they were able to do that. And, yeah, it took them forever. It took, like, 5 years of production to create that movie. And, again, it's a very short film. But yeah, I don't know. I think it does beat Miracle for that reason.
Yeah, and while I personally think Scrooge should have won everything, I totally can see the fact that it's below Miracle. I can see Nightmare beating it. And yeah, sure, Love Actually as well. Yeah. So
I think that this listing could have been approached in many different ways. I think you're looking at this as overall, like, less on technical basis and more on just what movie would you rather sit down, watch on Christmas. But it's also the fact that I think Love Actually is the winner here because it's more fun for people, especially older people, to watch.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's relatable.
Yeah,
it's
totally,
the most relatable film here.
That's true. I'm not really taking technical aspects into it that much because, yeah, obviously Scrooged is kind of lacking in that sense. But, yeah, I was more looking at it kind of from just more entertainment value because I think that's what Christmas movies kind of are all about. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this listing. I think that really they're all pretty good except Jingle All the Way. And
yeah,
I think I'm pretty happy with this listing. Maybe Happiest Season will grow on me more and actually climb a bit because it's so new.
Yeah, you want to just like go through each one and kind of give a rough percentage of where we think each one is at.
Okay, Jingle All the Way.
Just cause.
Gets like a 0%. I don't know. Maybe give it like 10%. And then Deck the Halls.
Okay.
Deck the Halls I'd give like a 65 maybe. I don't know. It's like a D. It's all right. Then 6th place, what do we have? Krampus. Yeah,
Yep.
The Krampus is just like once you get to Krampus it just kind of exponentially gets better. I don't know. Krampus, mid-70s, how about? maybe yeah, and then happiest season also mid-70s. Scrooged, I'd probably give like an 80%. Carried by the acting for sure. Then Miracle, I don't know, also like an 80. I think the rest kind of fall into that 80-ish to 85 range. Like, don't get me wrong, Love Actually it's good, but to me there's way better rom-coms. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's looking at it as a rom-com in general, there are many rom-coms that beat Love Actually, but as just a Christmas movie, I think it is one of the more superior
I think that our
Christmas
list
films.
is pretty solid. And we're going to post this list on our Instagram, right?
Yeah, we'll post the bracket in the listing. Yeah, I think if I'm looking at these films, I think I agree with you. Jingle All the Way is like, it is like a 5% for me. I mean, there's nothing in that film that, there's like maybe one scene that I kind of laughed. Like, you know the scene where he's in the Sinbad's in the post office pretending he's got a bomb.
Yeah. Okay.
He's like, he wants to get the toy. Like, that made me laugh. And then it turns out to actually be a bomb, and he's like, damn, this is the sick world we live in. Like, that made me laugh. But like the rest of it's just stupid.
True. All right.
And like even that's dumb, but that was just kind of funny. Deck the Halls for me, I don't know. I think it's more in like the 40% kind of range for me. It's not great in like everything, but it's entertaining, and it has some good comedic moments, and the acting is like half decent. I think Krampus for me is like, yeah, in the 60s, higher range 60s. It's shot really well, good soundtrack. It's actually scary. There are some actually very frightening scenes, but I think it would have improved upon an R rating instead of being a PG-13 horror, because there's a lot of sequences that could have been a lot scarier if they didn't have that kind of boundary. And then, yeah, I think the third act is very rushed. So, yeah, that's in like the higher 60% range. Happiest Season was solid. It's just a solid film. Nothing great about it. Nothing horrible about it. I think that's in the 70s, the mid 70s. And then Scrooged for me is also, I think, kind of 70 range. I think Bill Murray carries it with his performance. I think there is some really funny one-liners. The opening commercials in Scrooged are hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I was laughing so hard at those opening commercials. But yeah, I also think that the third act of Scrooge is just a little weak. So yeah, that's in the 70s. Miracle is when we get really high. I think Miracle's in the 80s. It's a solid film, super original. It's very entertaining, even though it's such an old film. And I like that it leaves everything open-ended and it's up for interpretation. And it is a bit more... it's a bit more rooted towards an older audience, even though it is like a family-friendly film. Nightmare Before Christmas is like the higher 80s for me. Technical achievement is just crazy, and it's just very immersive, and you're surrounded in a brand new world as you're watching it. And then Love Actually is also in the high 80s for me, as it's just so entertaining to watch. And, you know, I already talked about all the reasons Love Actually is in first place here, but also just the soundtrack is just absolutely beautiful. And I like that even though it's a Christmas movie, it doesn't focus too much on Christmas. They don't take like Christmas songs as the soundtrack. They've created their own soundtrack, and it you can watch it any time of year. And even though it's surrounded around Christmas, it doesn't feel just like a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think our list is pretty solid. Is Love Actually on our wheel to be reviewed?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay, well, let's keep it like that because we just kind of did a review.
We kind of already did.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll put any like holiday films on the wheel.
Yeah, no.
There's more.
All right. That kind of wraps up our Christmas special. You're going to be able to see the bracket and list on our Instagram, S_Q_F_S, Slightly Qualified Film Students. And stay tuned, because this is not meaning that we won't have an episode out next Monday. That is going to be Terry Gilliam's
we're coming to
Brazil.
you with Brazil.
Yeah.
Yep.
A film Lucas has never
So
seen.
make sure you watch Brazil before Monday. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. I plan to watch it tomorrow.
I
so
don't
I'm excited.
think it's on Netflix.
No, I don't think it is. I looked. I think you gotta rent it or
Rent it or
might have
pirate
to.
it.
There's other ways.
Not that we
are
condone
not
that.
condoning pirating.
We do not condone
we don't
pirating.
condone that.
And we are
But,
not promoting that.
Do what you want.
Do what you're gonna do to watch this film because you can also rent it from the library. I think that's how I watched it the first time I watched it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely on there.
It's an interesting watch. Pretty good. So yeah, stay tuned for that episode coming next Monday. Thanks so much for listening to our Christmas special, and have a great Christmas.
Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.
Thank you for listening to Slightly Qualified Film Students.
Make sure to tune in next week for a new film discussion and review.
Our theme song is Slightly Sexy by Thompson Springs.
Make sure to subscribe and leave us a like.
Send us feedback and comments as well as your thoughts on the film. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at S_Q_F_S.
If you would like to send us a question or a comment for next week's episode, you can email us at sqfilmstudents@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.